Let's go. Okay. First and foremost, my internet has been messy all day, so hopefully it's going to be stable throughout the stream. But if it's not, there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm sorry about that. We were going to do some level design this week because we've been doing that for a couple of weeks now, and I figured actually I don't really feel like doing that because I need like inspiration for that, and I had today like set aside to maybe work on some new abilities, some new spells for the game. And I actually thought, you know what, I want to do something else. I want to, because I've been playing a little bit with state trees again. And they now have a like proper debugger to use so that you can like monitor an instance, and it even has like, it's actually pretty cool. It's got like a login system where you can see in what state it was and for how long and all that kind of stuff. It's actually straight up like the debugging is better than it is at this point for behavior trees, which is wild because even like half a year ago or a year ago when I looked at it, there was next to no debugging that you could do for it, aside from like adding print strings into your own stuff. So it is much, much improved. It still crashes quite a lot when I like try to compile them. So it's got a ways to go maybe, but I want to look at how doable and easy it is to take these things that I have, some of which are a little iffy, and port them over to a like a state tree instead. I think that's what we're going to be looking at today, and that's mostly probably going to be just like remaking this, and it's going to take up the majority of the stream. Can you do a series on making a customizable character system like what Arc does? I'm not familiar with what Arc does, so I would have to look into that. But I don't know, maybe. All right, so I did take a look around, and we have the, I don't have it open anymore, but we have the base enemy class, right? So enemy base, I think I called it in blueprints. I wanted to add the behavior tree or behavior state tree. Man, wait, do I not have it enabled? Oh, that might be why. Let me try this real quick. So gameplay state tree, and we already have like the state tree thing here. So let's restart the engine real quick. Because I've been looking into trying to like implement it within the C++ class, but it just didn't seem to exist. And even while just looking through the files, but this is mass AI. It doesn't seem to have like state trees in here, so maybe that's why. So maybe I just need to load this up and then retry. And again, trying to like load up these modules in C++ didn't give any errors. So I imagine that it would if I'm trying to load modules that don't exist. It's just like torso, upper arm, lower arm, legs, nose. Oh, those kind of things. Yeah, that's probably mostly done with shape keys. So you would effectively like make a shape key with that adjustment. So you have your base model, and then you make a shape key with like an expanded chest, for instance, and then just hook up a value to that, make it with a slider. Like that seems pretty like doable. I can probably make a video on that. That isn't like altogether too complicated. Of course, then making the art assets to like actually look good is the hard part about that. That I can't help you with because I'm not that good at that either. So yeah, we have the like state tree component, but we didn't have that in C++, I don't think. So presumably it would be called something like use state tree, right? But that doesn't seem to exist. Maybe now that I've added it, let me real quick just close this down, open a writer again. Maybe now that I've added it and I reopen the project, maybe then it will load in that module properly. I kind of doubt it, because this should update in real time. But you never know. Yeah, so within the plugins AI, it doesn't seem like it's adding in the state tree thing. So I'm not very hopeful. But I can just search through as soon as I'm done loading the project, that is. Let's see, state tree. Yeah, so it is within here, mass AI. So it's probably just like called mass AI. And then we have got mass AI, mass state tree, execution, process, schema, subsystem. But all this doesn't have the, well, this is a component, right? Mass component hits up, but that's a different component. You need a plugin. Yeah, I have the plugin enabled. I just restarted the engine after enabling the plugin. But like it's not this, I'm pretty sure. Oh, hold on. We have gameplay state tree. So we have state tree component. Okay, no. So you state tree components for declare it does that. Presumably that is what it's called, right? In components, that makes sense. What the fuck even is any of this? Like, do we have a U class, U state tree component? Yeah. Gameplay state tree module. Yeah, that as well. This should, yeah, that should work. Okay, let's see if it works. U function, not the U function. Man, my brain is just. I have played. Let's do read only. Read only. I don't think it even has any writing functions on it. I've played about like 50 hours of Final Fantasy in the past like 4 days. So, and that's kind of destroyed my sleep schedule as well. So I'm going to be a bit all over the place, which maybe isn't the best to do if you're like changing major things about your code. But I guess we're here on this adventure together. I did finish the game though last night, which is why I'm streaming today and not yesterday as I should have been, because I was in that zone, man, where you're playing a game, you're like, this is the end of the game. This has to be the end of the game. We have to be closing into the end of the game. And I was in that window for like 2 to 2.5 hours. Because I don't think this is a massive spoiler, but like that final dungeon itself, I think takes like 2.5 hours to get through. And then you have a bunch of fucking cutscenes and boss fights. And like a little like pacing spaces in between all those, even after that final dungeon. So effectively, I started playing at like 11 a.m. and I finished the game at like 9 p.m. Also because the final boss was bullshit and I had to like retry it a couple of times. But yeah, so I didn't really quite make it to stream yesterday. Now though, we have our no, we don't. Why not? Oh, because yeah, that makes sense. We need to do a couple of things different anyway, because I'm going to get rid of the BT assets that we have in here. Don't need the Blackboard component ref anymore either. I think those are the only two things that I really care about, potentially. So let's go to the enemy C++ class, wherever the freak it might be. There we go. Here we need to do a couple of things on constructing on begin play. So on begin play, we used to do like AI controller and then get the ability system component. Oh, we're going to need to, probably doesn't have integration with the tags as much as, we'll worry about that later. I cannot be asked. So yeah, we did all this, get Blackboard components, and I thought we also run the behavior tree, but we might do that from the controller instead. Yeah, on possess. So we pretty much get rid of all that. Typically, you can make state trees that run on the AI controller instead of the character itself. I feel like just making them run on the actors will make some amount more sense, but I don't know if I will change my mind about that. We have to kind of just experiment a little bit with it, I think. But we just get rid of the possess function. And then all that should still work fine. And then we need to go back up here. We can get rid of this include apparently. And this one. And that one. And then after we add the ability system components, we... what did I even call... my state tree? State tree component. Yeah, so maybe let's like declare it up here with the rest of the components. Somewhere up here. Yeah. Below the ability system, that makes sense. So state tree component, right? We do that, and that is just kind of that. And now we have to include for this one. But you don't like doing that. Why not? It's incomplete. Yes, I know. I would very much like to include it. I mean, I can manually include it if need be, but why skeletal mesh component? Go pilot, go home. You're drunk. Include okay. That's not quite what I want. I want state tree module, I guess. And then public. State tree gameplay. What did we just find that thing in there? We just found where it exists, right? Oh, it's gameplay state tree. Okay. Gameplay state tree module. Then in public components, state tree component. And then you shut up. Okay, good. Let's retry that. and see if it gives me any trouble. I could just add this into the blueprint base class. We have a blueprint base class that everything inherits off of, but I want to I just got a response on a comment that automatically gets deleted. I don't know why YouTube keeps doing that. YouTube seems to have a like real issue with either like double posting comments lately, or deleting comments, because I also like have a double posted comment here from my own. It's kind of weird about it. Because I want to maybe over the next like couple of months, as I refine this entire thing and make this work the way it should work, with state trees, I think the next thing I want to do, for a variety of different reasons, is change this to inherit off of the pawn class instead of the character class, because the default character movement is great, but it is also severely limited. And Unreal has a new like mover component plugin as well that is, I think, technically still in beta, so maybe not great to move over to. That lets you effectively be more custom in programming your own like movement. And I think I might want that because I have like flying enemies and stuff. So that would be nice. As well as I will have enemies that I already have enemies that don't really fit within the normal capsule collision. So I want like different collision for all of them as well. So I want to move away from like that capsule collider, but that's very, very far into the future. That's a few months away at the very least. Um, and whatever I do there shouldn't impact what I do here, realistically speaking, I don't think. But let's give this a look. So, okay, we now have the stage 3 component on our enemy base. So let's make our first stage 3 like schema, or whatever it's called. So we have blueprints in which we have enemies characters, I think. Ground, basic demon. And in there we can go into artificial intelligence, stage 3, for the stage 3 components, and we'll call this S3 for stage 3, I guess. Basic demon. Now, here we have the state tree. It looks a little weird because I had it open on my portrait mode monitor. First and foremost, window, debugger. This shit is amazing. Anytime I play, I can say what I want to track, and then it like creates like a little line here of what state it was in, for how long, and all that kind of good stuff. And then when I play again, it doesn't override it, it just adds a new layer, or like a new row to it, which is fantastic. We're going to recreate what we have here. And what we have here is effectively, if you're this close to the enemy, do an attack. If you're within a certain other range within of the enemy, for like the player's perspective, you go ahead and like chase. And if you don't have any of that going on, if the enemy or the player isn't anywhere nearby each other, it just does a basic patrol thing. And I have a environment query to decide where it goes, so I don't need to like reprogram that at all. I move to the location and then just it waits. So that's the basic idea. The thing that took me a little bit of getting used to is the idea that the Blackboard, this concept doesn't seem to exist for state trees. It does have in the it does have parameters here, right? But these aren't writable, as in with code. These are parameters. These are not variables. These are parameters. And that might seem like that's the same thing, but it's really not. These are the things that if I just make them, like I have a new property here, and I go into enemy base and I pick out like this, and I need to like save and compile this, and I come back here, we should have it should show up here, but it doesn't seem to, so maybe I need to compile this as well. Still trying to figure this out as we go along. Let's give this a couple of different like types. So these are the parameters for all that, and then in the there we go. So now you can see they show up here, and I can set them on a per blueprint basis. I can't very easily access these through any sort of code, though. So it's not like I can make a variable for the destination location on the state tree and reuse that. The place that we need to store that, I believe, will have to be on the blueprint that we're going to be running it on itself. We still can easily access that though, because we can set in the schema here, the context actor, which will be BP enemy base. And that way we can access pretty much any variables that we make on this blueprint directly from here. So that's the way I think that's supposed to go. That's the way that I'm going to do it. Did you learn C++ or any other programming language before trying to use it in this project? So yeah, I had a little bit of experience a while back, right? I'm talking like high school. Programming simple stuff in Java, so that's just like simple like math command line applications. Nothing with any like GUI or whatever, because that shit is not expensive, complicated. And then I used Unity, so I like was somewhat proficient in C#. And I initially moved into Unity because I wanted to code with like just like traditional code instead of having to do everything with Blueprint, because Blueprint is, as much as I love it, also a little bit of a pain in the ass when you have to do like a lot of coding. So I tried to move into Unity to see how that worked. Decided that actually, as much as I liked doing things with like just traditional code, all of the like myriad features that Unreal just like provides for you that you don't have to make yourself saves me so much headache compared to using Unity that I decided, you know what, maybe Blueprint is worth it, but yeah, we'll probably need to get into C++. And I've been avoiding C++. I actually tried working with Unity rather than trying to like figure out C++, because everybody's always like all doomsday about C++, like being so complicated. And for like just raw C++, the fact that it doesn't do garbage collection indeed is a headache. Like, don't get me wrong, but within the context of Unreal, it's really not that bad. Like, it is effectively just like C# with a couple of like weird quirks to it. Because Unreal does provide you with a garbage collector, which you have a certain amount of control over. It's just some of the syntax is slightly different, and there's a couple of like operators that work differently. Like in C#, like everything is accessed with just like dot operators, right? Whereas in C++, when you're working with a pointer, you're using like this arrow. If you're using with something static, like you gameplay, I think it's you gameplay static, right? If you want to access static function, you use this double colon. Those kind of like little syntax quirks are different. But aside from that, it's effectively just like programming in any other like managed like garbage collected language at this point. If you're within Unreal. So I was scared of something that I shouldn't have been scared. So yeah, ChatGPT does help a lot. Yeah. Jumped into Unreal 5 and Godot. Haven't done any coding since high school. Yeah, I also had like a good couple of years there where I went to college and like did stuff aside from like code. So it took me a bit to get back into it because like I hadn't like written any code in like 5 years. So when I went back into like C sharp, it took a little bit of getting used to. But I picked it up fairly easily again. And then C++ was, I actually kind of prefer it in some ways because there is a distinction between like pointers and actual values that is relied on a little bit more. So you know what you're doing a bit more. So it's not like the language is like taking things out from under you. Yeah, I personally never like did much like HTML because that is effectively, I don't know, it's not really programming as much, right? It's, and I know that like web developers are gonna hate me for that, but I don't think I don't know about HTML5. I think that's a little more like has a little bit more depth, but for the most part, it's like more design with things that look like code than programming. It's coding, but it's not programming. Let's say that. Anyway, so yeah, let's take a look at this. So let's make two sub states here, one for passive and one for angry. I really want to call it angry, but let's not. And then I think you can like set the colors. Oh, you, how do you do this? Because I think you can set colors for like individual, just for because I like, right? Like individual stuff. Oh, hold on. Yeah, you can make like this red, and then you can say, "Hey, you." Where's my details panel? Where the fuck is my details? Oh, it's down there. Okay, let's put that to the side. And yeah, we can. That's how we do. Okay, so let's say default color. Then we have angry color, and then we have this has no actual usage. This is just because I like pretty colors. And then let's make passive green. So here we can make that passive, that angry. It's just, and then when we add in nope. And when we add in child states, it should have the, it doesn't have the same color. That's a little fucked. But yeah. So in the passive state, it's actually fairly easy, I think, because what we do is we add in a child state. Can we, that was a sibling, a child. Can we select multiple things at a time and then just set all of them to, yeah, we can. Okay, that's fine. And this will just be, I think we can just do this in one task, to be honest with you, because all we do is, no, we do need to. So we walk to location. So there we add in a task, and I've not really like done anything with run environment queries, so we're gonna see what ends up happening here. Because what, how does this work? We have the patrol query, which does its thing. Then query config. Guess we make that a parameter where we can set the name, the parameter, type is float, and then the value, and then we have like blackboard key. Okay, so I made that myself, I think. right? I entirely forgot how that works. Because it's been a while. I think we distance to item and then the distance to courier. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because we want to check. Where does it exist? Oh, that's just a pre-made one, and then we have distance to item here, maybe. Why can I not find that? So confused. Oh, enemy patrol location. That's the thing that I was looking for. There we go. Okay. So it does all this, and then it returns one value. That's effectively. What that does, right? So well, then how do we use that to like decide where to walk to? Is my question. Because I don't know. I don't know how that works. I guess the result is result of the query. If an array is binded, I think grammatically that should be bound, but hey, whatever. It will output all the created values. Otherwise, it will output the best one. So can we bind this to a global vector parameter? Let's remove, because I just said that these weren't for writing to, but maybe they are sometimes. Let's just test this. Right? I don't really know what's going on here. So let's just ignore that. So this will be find location. It opened up a search on my monitor. I don't want that. After that's done, what we'll do is we'll move on to whatever is the next state. We'll add a sibling state, which can be blue, but sure. And we'll walk through a location. And that can have a very simple. Okay, this is a little annoying. Yeah, so we need to just make a new task that does all of this, which is kind of fine. Let's just make one here. So this should be a state tree like task, blueprint base. Yep, there we go. And there's just patrol location. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to just like combine that. So when we enter this state, what we do is we run EQS query. Query template will be patrol. And the courier will be to a variable, and that will be a the pawn. Let's call it enemy, which will be of type pawn. I think type actor should be good enough, but let's just do type pawn. It's going to take a moment to decide whether or not it should allow me to do that, I guess. I don't care. And we need to make that instance editable so that we can set that on the tree itself in a moment. It gets the single best item, from which it gets the EQS query instance object. Can we just like get result or something? Get result as locations. I'm going to use it in just like straight up blueprint. Output an array of locations generated with a query. If the query generated actors the array is filled with the location, it returns false if there's no valid results. Sure. Can I not just get like a single location? Let's just take a look at AI EQS. Get item score, get locations, get actors, set named param. Yeah, I think we just kind of presumably this just gets us an array of length 1, right? So let's just print this with a length just to see if it gives me only 1. Because I kind of got to know that. Let's change this around then to being a different task. That's going to be our task that we just made. So that's patrol location. Who the fuck is calling me like right now? Go. What game are you making? I'm making a action RPG, which is turns out a lot of work. So yeah, we just added that task, and you can see that that enemy variable that I made instance editable is now like instance editable, and I can just bind this to be the actor that has this component on it, or like it's running this state tree. And let's just start off with that, I guess. Fail to resolve transaction. There's no selectable states. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's just duplicate this or something. For now. And it goes back to root. So, in theory, it says 0. Okay, it's a bad start, isn't it? So the query doesn't work. Oh, yeah, no, that does make sense now, doesn't it? Because we have this like grid half size. I think these are the things that you can just check that out here, right? I think I'm just confusing myself. I think that's just a pre-existing like Unreal struct that I was freaking out over now that I think about it. But how do I get the single best location like out of this then? Well, I'm not also still using behavior trees. Is the idea is that I'm remaking what I have here in a state tree. Mostly as an experiment at this point, to be honest. Just trying to figure out how this fucking thing works, because I would very much like to figure that out. I guess I'm just going to Google that. Unreal EQ run EQS get best location. Like, what the hell? blueprints. I don't know what the use is of this get EQS query if it just like straight up doesn't work. It's the thing. I haven't run the EQS from Blueprint yet. I'm trying to find actually about myself right now. What the fuck? Okay, so this forum post seems to imply that I need to bind to onQuery finished, which makes sense. Make a custom event for that, which has the query instance and the query status. And then the query instance, but that's just like the same thing again, right? So get results as locations. Let's give this another try like this. Eventually we'll get this worked out. This has nothing to do with state trace. This is just me trying to wrestle with the EQS system. Yeah, so that's 0. That's not a good sign. Yeah, it still says 0. Which I have to imagine is because I'm getting them as single best. So maybe we just get all matching, just to see if this does anything, to be honest. Nope, still says 0. At least I can check it very quickly that way. It's also printing it more times than I have actors in that world that should run it this way, so that's kind of weird. Unless I accidentally... Okay, so I put it in the enemy base instead of in the... No, that does make sense then. Unless I need to set like the named parameters for any of this shit. But I don't think I do, because I don't think I'm using named parameters, am I? These are just like straight up. Like I can set them with query params. But I just have these hard-coded to have a half size of 500 with... Kind of nice that you can run them async. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the EQS, but I think we maybe shouldn't waste too much time on that. We can always figure that out later, I guess. Yeah, so this is courier actor, which is always going to be an enemy, so like that should work. I don't know why that is even like there. Yeah, no, I have no idea. I'll probably need to look into how to use this run EQS thing with like anything here. I just, like, we have an EQS test actor, right? But that exists. Just don't remember what it's called. Uh, Apparently I can just put these into the world. Guess that's how that works. It also just doesn't show anything in here. Yeah, so maybe I am doing something wrong. But no, it works perfectly fine if I just do it through the behavior tree. Right, if I just run EQS, it just sets the... Yeah, it just sets it to the patrol location blackboard key, so that works. The EQS work with behavior tree? Yeah, it does. But it's the behavior tree is like facilitating some stuff that I didn't have to make myself, which now I have to like bug around with this stuff. And I mean, we have, instead of doing this, we do have just like run environment query with this. And I can, I think, just bind that to there. And then maybe what we do instead, I just, as an ID, we set up a location to walk to as a vector, and we just do this, and then get AI controller, all that kind of good stuff. We get rid of all this, at least for now. You can always take another look at this later. Move AI to, or AI move to, same difference to me. The enemy to that location. And then on success, we finish the task. And on fail, we also finish, but we say it didn't succeed. So now we just have it broken up within two different things, which is fine. So we patrol to location, and after that we go back to the route, at which point we pretty much like do the same thing over again. And the patrol location that we walk to needs to be exposed. Slowly but surely we're getting there. And that's going to be our result location. So I think what it should do is it should find location, set it to this value, and then walk to that location and then do the same thing over again. If it doesn't do that, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Also, printing the location variable might be nice, but at this point I just need to know whether or not they walk at all. They don't. To be fair, I also don't want them to run immediately on startup, but we'll take a look into that later. But yes, they just straight up... Oh, that's because the enemy isn't populated. Yeah, no, that might make sense. It does need to know what actor to like start moving. So It's still not moving. Just to check, right? If I go into the debugger here. Oh, it does it for every single instance. That's actually kind of nice. What state are they? What is this state that they're now in? Zoom. They are in this state. Doesn't happen to like update. I don't think it was. It's labeled find location, but it is move to location. It would be nice if you like highlight, like hover over them to have a tooltip. Also be nice if I could scroll. Oh, there we go. So it does. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Everything is called the same thing, isn't it? Well, it's just. Oh, I can play from there as well. That's nice. So it immediately moves into move to location, effectively. That's what I see. Which is weird. Well, it's not that weird. Oh, no, what the fuck? Why does it work now? I didn't change anything. Aside from the fact that they're named differently, maybe they use names in some weird way. But I would assume that this is just a string for like my benefit. But maybe it's actually like an F name. It uses something about that under the hood. Okay. Sure. So that works, I guess. Okay, so then we do angry. So as long as they are in passive, what we're going to do is we're going to try to transition on tick with the condition being we want to transition to angry with the condition being a bool compare. Something has to be true, and the thing that has to be true has to be can see player, which is being set by the AI controller. I think. Why is this just AI controller? Let's make sure about something very basic. That is that this has the proper AI controller, because if it doesn't, I'm going to be even more, yeah, AI controller basic lang, right? So this has all that going for it. And this sets the bools on the blackboard at the moment, but what it should do instead is essentially just get control on, cast that to the base enemy, and set can see player to the stimulus value here. I guess if the actor... Oh, yeah. Wait, if the actor has tag, oh, it does something different if it is for an enemy or if it's for a non-enemy. You know, we'll worry about like the whole summoning thing later. We'll have to redo a bunch of this stuff anyway for that. For now, it's just going to be as easy as this. If the is a that function actually exists? No, it doesn't. Oh no, it does. There we go. Nice function. If what I would just sensed is a third-person character, fucking hell, I think it's this one. State trees is used for animation. That's animation state machines you're thinking about. It's effectively like the same principle though. It's a state machine, just that state trees are like this stuff is a little bit more hierarchical and also can like work as a tree. Though I think animation state machines can effectively do the same thing because as long as you're like within any of these states, the transitions from this state can also still apply. And I think that also works with animation state machines the same way. So yeah, this is just like generally a state machine, but for some reason they wanted to make it look like a tree structure, which is like fine. I would honestly kind of prefer it if this was just a normal like node-based state machine, maybe. But here we are. This is less messy if you have a bunch of different connections, though. But it's also less visually clear what's happening. I guess what I'm saying is that I can't be pleased. Anyway, in the passive state, what we do is we check if false is true. Yes, that's not going to work. If the actors, and there we have a bunch of stuff. If the actors can see player, why can see player is true, then we move to angry, and I guess in the angry state we do the opposite. We move to passive on tick. The other one on tick as well, yes. If can see player is false. What game are you making? I'm making an action RPG. So my question is this transition, like, can I make that a global task or something? No, I don't think I can. But maybe I can. Maybe that's what I can use evaluators for. I'm not entirely sure what the fuck like the purposes of these evaluators is yet. To be honest with you, but so when they're angry, what they will do is they will chase me, and when they're within a certain distance, they will attack. So they will state tree task. I think just label those with STT, state tree task. That makes sense. I think that makes sense. Chase targets. And that should be fairly easy, right? Because we have a variable for the enemy. well, that might not be. Let's make that just a pawn. And let's call this just chaser. And let's make a pawn that is the goal. And that is actually just going to be a base actor. That way it is like a little bit more reusable, a little bit more generic. And then on enter state, what we do is we get the chaser, get the AI controller off of it, AI move to, all that good stuff. We'll move this pawn to the target actor. This is super straightforward. So we finish this task and we also finish it if we fail. So we'll never actually finish this in this case though, because what we'll do is we'll do a transition on tick to go to the next state, which is attacking, once we get within a certain radius, I think. But we will look into that in a moment. So SCT chase. So chaser will be the actor. The chasee will be the player, or at least like the target. So I guess we just make a target variable on here. I feel a little uneasy doing this on like the actual like blueprint class itself instead of having like a blackboard for this, but I think this is the way that it's supposed to go down. If it's not, we'll figure it out eventually, I'm sure. Making a clicker game named Marshmallow Clicker Game. Oh, that's actually like a fun twist on Cookie Clicker. Could be have in full languages, English, Arabic, Chinese, and Japanese. Having multiple languages is neat. I'm not gonna like bother with that myself because it's a lot of work, but that is nice. Got mad. Yeah, that's the internet for you today. The goal. Okay, so yeah, the goal will be actor and then target. And for now, what we'll do is we'll just go event graph. We can play and we'll just set the target to just get player character, just so that it has a target. We'll maybe make this a little bit more intelligent at some point, make this into its own thing. But this will be chase. And then the sibling state for this, which is going to have to be red because I like that, which will be attack. And for now, it's not going to do much. But we have this, we try to do this on tick. We go to just the next state. And the condition will be distance compare, which is built-in, which is quite nice. And it's just going to get the two actor locations, right? So we get the actor location for this actor, and then we get the actor location for the target that we have. And then this, I think I'm going to make into a parameter. So this will be the attack distance, because that's going to be, hello? Because that's going to be different for every single enemy, because some enemies have a larger range. Preferably, maybe even make this event-based or something. there's a lot of fun stuff that we can do with it. For now, we'll be good. So yeah, then we attack, and then we do one more thing. So that's another sibling state, which could be, again, red. And that's going to be our waiting state, in which we just delay can say 2 seconds, maybe just 1 second is good enough. With a random deviation of like 0.3, 0.3. So yeah, when this is completed, we move on to the next one again, and when that's completed, we move back to angry. So what it will do is it'll start here, usually try to go into passive, which will always be true unless it immediately goes into angry. Finds a location, moves to that location. We'll also add in a waiting node here, or a waiting task, I guess. This one will be a little longer, so this will be like 4 with a random deviation of up to a second. So this is wait at location. I'm gonna just be sure that I don't reuse names, because that seemed to fuck me over a moment ago. When we reach the location here, we also just move on to the next state. So this is just like a little bit of a carousel, right? It's passive, finds a location, moves there, waits, and then it goes back to passive. So it just keeps doing this loop over and over and over again until this passive thing is like, hey, you're now angry. And then it does this loop over and over again until it's like, hey, you're no longer angry because you can't see the player anymore. And then it goes here and does that over and over again. That's essentially what this does as well. This is just like a little bit more readable, I would argue. And especially once this becomes a bit more involved than just these like 3 states and these 3 states, or like actions within these states, rather, for things like boss fights. Then we also have to think about like, okay, but if you're beyond a certain point in the fight, maybe a new state unlocks where you're like super angry. I think this like state-based approach is going to help a lot in programming like better behavior easier. For now, though, the attack state doesn't do anything. We'll get into that in a moment. Let's actually just do it right now, because it should be fairly easy, because we already have a like doability thing for the behavior tree, and we essentially just do the same thing. What the hell am I doing? We essentially just do the same thing here, except that we do it in a state tree task. So state tree task, and there's STT do ability. I guess we can just literally put them side by side. So we have this new var, which we'll actually call abilities to choose from or something. And the duration, I think we're not even using anymore. And then just a tag that we watch out for to end this, which in some cases is different. So let's just copy these 2 variables over. And then can just copy this over as well. All of this. It's going to be that easy. I'll walk through what it all does in a moment. Do we have any like getters for this stuff? Like the surely is there a different category in here somewhere? State trees or something? Gameplay, state trees. seem like it. That's too bad. I was thinking maybe we have something like get actor or something like that, right? The actor that is running this, but it seems like maybe we don't. We just be get owner. Let's just promote this to a variable and say actor to do ability. There might be an automated way for something like that to happen, but we'll just do it this way. What do you name your game? Naming has been such a long process where I'm like, I don't know what I want to name the game. And frankly, I still don't know if I like did a good name. But at some point, I had like, I need to make a Steam page to like start promoting it, and also for like playtesting. I'm using Steam now to the point where when you make a Steam page, you need to like provide in a name because you're now on Steam. So I just went with the name that I had at that point, which is Dark Reflection, which is frankly not a great name. But I kind of think that it's gonna stick because I don't know if I can change it, and I also don't know if I can come up with anything better. So that's kind of what we're doing there. So yeah, in the attacking state, we can go into the task, and there we can do ability. And here we just check actor to do ability will be the actor. And the abilities, I guess we can make that a parameter as well. Make this just like the most basic as stuff ever. We could technically make this its own like subtree that runs and is like instanceable that we can like reuse essentially. And the same thing for like this patrol thing. For now though, I think what we're just gonna do is demon basic attack, and I'm not gonna worry about like this other stuff for now. It's just demon basic attack. It's only one attack anyway, so it's fine. So yeah, that should be essentially the entire demon AI reconstructed, and now everything is going to try to do that ability. I realize because everything is running this exact same thing. Only one of my enemies actually can do that ability because it relies on an animation, but let's not think about that too much. Let's see whether or not they work. Sure as shit they don't see me. I think that's just because they can see player variables probably not getting updated properly. I wish we could just make things only visible and not editable, but here we are. Maybe you can in Blueprint, I don't know. Don't think you can? Maybe you can. If anybody knows of a way in Blueprint to make things that grayed out kind of way in the details panel, where you can see its value but not update it, that would also be kind of neat. It's very easy to do in C++. I have no idea if Blueprint, like, it doesn't seem like there's a value for that in the details here, but maybe I'm just overlooking it. Yeah, can't see players just like set to false for, so that's not getting updated properly. I wonder why that is. Wait, is the actor? actor should be the thing that was is the stimulus source, right? Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. Get control point. That's what we need to do there for the enemy base. So let's see if it works now. You know your game was Friday. Yeah, I'm doing that like to the series now for tutorials, but I made something 3D, and frankly, I don't know that I think necessarily. Still not doing it. Still not doing it. But can see player is actually getting set to true, so it is something to do with. I don't know which one I'm trying to look at this point. I guess it's basic demon 4, so. Well, I guess at this point it's actually all of them. Also, basic demon 4 isn't in here. That's probably this. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so they're constantly trying to attack me. That's what these like little red things are, surely. This is Angry Chase. Okay, what's going wrong? Because this is... Can I clear all this stuff? Yeah, let's clear it out and let's try again. Just so that I know I'm looking at the right data. Oh no, this is not coming to any mobile devices. Like, no chance. It'll be good if this runs on a Steam Deck. But anything less powerful than a Steam Deck, there's actually just no chance. Okay, so what's going on? We have they're all pretty much like on top of me. And I think none of them are actually moving into the angry. Well, no, actually root angry chase. Root angry chase, and then this fucker is like off somewhere else doing his thing, I guess. So then when... Oh! That's the issue. Yeah, probably should have thought about that. When it's equal, it's never going to be equal. It should be less than or equal. Then it goes into the attacking state. Okay. One step at a time, we're getting there. Yeah, so it does have a... it doesn't finish that task, but it just... Let me double check before I say something that's not true. Within Chase, yeah, so it does this... like this transition check. It does it on tick, right? So it'll do it every frame to try to go to the next state if this condition is met. The issue was just the condition itself was set to stupid. So presumably it should work now. I also don't know if 100 units is maybe too small, but I think that should be fine. As in, maybe the collision doesn't allow for them to get that close, but I think it should. Okay, no. But when it can no longer see me, it does go just immediately back into patrol. And when it does see me, it doesn't immediately start following. When it does no longer see me, it does immediately go to patrol, which maybe there needs to be like a little bit of like a grace period there. But this somehow this does make it more responsive because it is more easily able to interrupt like any other state that is linked up to. So I'm actually kind of liking this behavior a lot more than it used to look like, because it feels more responsive. I don't know why it would, but it kind of does. So yeah, it still doesn't go into the attacking state, which is kind of weird. Unless it goes into attacking state and it immediately, let's see. No, it does go into it. It just doesn't do anything. How odd. I guess maybe this is failing? This should work always. And then it should only finish it once that is removed, so when the ability is over. So maybe like this check is failing. No ability system components. Just see. I don't know why that would be failing. Anyway, really complicated, contemplating. Man, my brain is not braining. If I should use state trees and forego my custom implementation, I mean, the answer probably is. State trees has utility scoring, also very true. It's like a lot of like fancy weighting stuff, which is kind of cool. It's one of those things where, like, earlier today I talked about. So I don't even like printing that. So that's not the issue. Earlier in the stream, I was talking about the reason that I like Unreal Engine and I went with Unreal Engine and that I went back to Unreal Engine after trying out Unity is that it does so much like shit for you that you don't have to build yourself. Of course, the more you build yourself, the more custom you can make it to your needs, and you can get rid of some of the processing overhead with the features that you don't need, as long as your code on a base level is as efficient as what Epic itself is programming. Because if you remake something in a worse way, it's still going to perform worse as well. So there's also that element to it. But like this stuff, I really like, and now that it has like this proper like debugging graph, I quite like it. Why does it not do anything in the attack? No. Okay, let's tag added. Is it just immediately removing the tag? But that still wouldn't end the animation, would it? Shouldn't. Let's just real quick make sure that this, yeah, it does use the control pool. Well, this is what happens when you try to like experiment and figure things out live on the go. is sometimes you just don't understand what's going wrong. I thought that might be fun, but now I'm thinking about it, it might just be really infuriating to look at. Okay, so it adds the tags, and it'll get stuck in those states because it like does fuck all. That makes sense. So why doesn't it do the ability? That's what I don't understand. Oh, oh! I think I know. I think I think I know. I know. I know. No, I don't. Never mind. I thought I just didn't hook up this target, but I did. Yeah. So why doesn't it do the ability? Um. What are in each variable like abilities and gameplay tags? So yeah, if I go into here, we have this array of possible abilities that I can do. It'll take one from it at random, and then I'll wait for a certain tag to be removed to end this task, because that's the only way that I've found consistently um, to report on an ability ending. And then the actor to do ability will just be like this actor. So maybe that is what's going wrong. No, surely not. Because the movement works when I just put in this as the actor. Just to be sure, let's print out the name of the actor that's trying to do the thing. Surely no, that can't be it, because it does get the ability system component. So it must be doing that on an actor that has an ability system component. Does the animation just... Yeah, so it's basic demon 4, basic demon 3, basic demon 2. So all that works. And it's not like it's just doing it over and over and over again with the 3 seconds in between, right? It's just starting that task and not completing it. Which is the weird part. So if I just stand around it for a couple of seconds, it's not gonna like read. Well, now that there's a second demon watching me. Yeah, so it's not like re-triggering that thing at all. So it's getting stuck after starting this task. So something is going wrong here. Why would that behave any different though? So there's no reason to shoot. Like, unless what is happening is that this is somehow not getting properly like populated or whatever. So yeah, it does do this a lot. Where it's just sometimes like, yeah, no, I'm gonna crash now. Fuck you. It likes to do that, so that's a little bit annoying. It works well enough in game. It's just sometimes the editor does weird stuff and tries to like access things or something, and it crashes. So yeah, let's check the let's check the length of the like random array that we have, like the abilities array. And then let's also check the ability that it picks, because it might just be like picking a null class reference or something like that, because it is an empty array. And presumably the gameplay ability system has protection built in against like null reference classes. So that's why it's not crashing, which is a good thing, mostly. So yeah, attack. Let's edit that. That's on my other monitors. Okay, yeah. I'm going to do this. Let's print string and get the length of this array. And even before I start trying to like print out the name, I just want to see a number pop up there that's not 0 when I do that. And we'll see if this... Oh, it didn't change some of the changes when I crashed, I think. Yeah, it should get control. So yeah, the amount of crashes that I've had today playing around with this stuff does have me a little bit worried about actually going through with doing this change on a larger scale. It's a little bit worrying. Okay, that still is kind of fucked. Because that's still unequal. Less than or equal, please. Might also make like a few of these into C++ classes in the future and whatnot. But... okay, it does say 1, so that works. That is the proper thing. Where's the chase target? There we go. Get class display name. So what do we do if this doesn't work, right? Because if this doesn't work, things grow really tedious really quick. Yeah, so this is basic demon attack. So that should just... is it something about the ability itself that assumes that it's running on like a behavior tree or something? And some like cast is failing because of that. Might be. If it didn't even like make it anti-ability, it would get stuck as well. So let's see. So we cast to character. That's gonna in the future maybe be a problem, but not for now. Then we spawn a system attached if there is one, but there isn't one for now. And then we stop all movement immediately. We cast to actor. That's it. So that cast fails because we're no longer using the blackboard. There we go. Okay. It's just the ability that relies on the blackboard. We can just make this a cast to the base enemy, or enemy base rather. instead. And oh my god, I guess we just reconnect everything up this way. There's a bunch of shit that is connected up here, but I think we're getting most of it. Where does that even go? It's all the way over there. And then one last one. Oh yeah, that's just get targets. Just get target. Which no longer has to be cast, so that's nice. So I can just immediately go into there. All right. Now it should work. Let's save everything real quick. Now it should work. The ability is also going to break whenever I get around to changing the... Well, no, it won't anymore. Well, no, it will. Whenever I get around to changing those to pawns instead of proper characters, the ability is going to break again. But yeah, you see, now it all... it works, and it can even damage me, and this enemy just straight up... fantastic. This is the most basic behavior. So this is just like attack patrol behavior. So I'm going to change this actually from basic demon to basic enemy. And we're going to make this into a parameter so that the enemy itself can populate it. And we can reuse this potentially. And then maybe I want to look into making both of these their own like sub trees. If that ends up making sense, but it might not. So yeah, we just promote this to a parameter. Maybe we can't promote this to a parameter. Property is bound to ability 0, but binding source type class does not match property type gameplay ability. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually an issue. Oh, it just makes it a class, but we can make that a gameplay ability class reference. Now, okay, that's fine. So let's rename this to, rename this to abilities. And then we change this to a gameplay ability class reference instead. And now it stops screaming at me as well. Great. So what we can do now is we can go back into here because we don't want this to be populated like at all. We can go into basic daemon instead. And in here, it doesn't let me populate those. Why not? Let's just reopen it because that might do it. No, it does not. Is it something to do with the fact that it is... Well, this probably should also... I don't know. I wonder why it does show those two, but not the one that I just added. I guess maybe we need to just do this. Yeah, no. I thought it was this array, but it's not. Let's add one more thing just to see if that shows up. Okay, it's a little weird, but there we go. There's definitely some room for improvement for these plugins. Is it technically still in beta? No, this is just full 1.0 release version. Yeah, that shouldn't happen then. Like that should have been like run into and fixed. But whatever. So we have the basic demon attack. And we can set the attack distance to whatever we want at any point. But the wonderful thing is, now that we have that like fairly generic stuff, we can do all of our generic enemies very easily now, in theory, because we have a bunch of them. Well, actually, we only have one of them, because the ghost also has exactly the same AI. Just like looking at this, same AI, just has no abilities. It literally just uses the same behavior tree, maybe. No, it doesn't, because... Okay, the ghost is a little bit weird. No idea what's going on there. But in theory, all that we should have to do here is just like add our ghost basic attack left and our ghost basic attack right. And that should be it. Now our ghost should work, because that is all that needs to do as well. It's exactly the same functionality. And we'll need to maybe tweak this a little bit, because it will probably bug out if we like start moving out of its range of vision while it's mid-animation. Which is easy to test with the... I don't know what the fuck is up with you. But sure. Let's change around the order of these. So, if nothing else, just for testing purposes for the time being. So this can go last. So we start off with some ghosts, because I want to test those. And we do some demons. And then we're actually making good progress here. I thought this was going to take a little bit longer to like properly get into, but okay, we can do this. What's going wrong with these then, right? Because surely that should have just worked. Because those inherit from the same like parent blueprint. The ghost does inherit from the BP enemy base, so that cast is not failing either. No, it's the same ability class. So I have this very like just most attacks are just like plain animation and maybe a sound and a VFX. And then you're like setting the rotation and that kind of stuff, and then playing an animation montage and dealing with like damage applying. Just like waiting for attack to get sent through effectively. And then running an interface. So they all inherit from like this same ability. There's a lot of abilities that do their own thing, don't get me wrong. But anything that's just plain animation inherits off of this. So that should have fixed it. But I guess it didn't. There might be something entirely like else that's going wrong. Oh, it might not be using the proper... Yeah, I think that's going to be the issue. It might not be using the proper controller. No, it is. Can see. This has no can see. What? Oh, it probably it just didn't do the thing. Yeah, I can see players, just not exposed. Instance editable. That's the issue. Well, that's not the issue, but that's why I couldn't see it. I swear to God, this does actually fix it. I'm going to lose it. It shouldn't. It's not even can see enemy because it does actually follow me, right? So I'm straight up just looking at the wrong thing. It does angry chase, angry chase, angry chase. It never seems to go into... No, it does go into attack. It just immediately backs out of it again. Oh no, this is a passive convocation. Angry wait. Oh, but this one does do angry wait. So that does that imply that it does try to attack? Angry chase, it goes immediately into angry wait. I am mildly confused by that. Yeah, I'm very confused about that. What might be happening here? Better question is, does it do the same thing for the zombies? Because it might just be that it's freaking out with those like class references in an array as a parameter. In which case, I'll just make it a separate like state tree. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's the issue. So it's kind of freaking out about that, I think. Because those are also stopped working. Which kind of sucks. Not gonna lie. I was kind of hoping that would just work. Oh, it might actually... Hold on. Did it bind to the proper thing? Abilities, yeah. I think it did. I'm going to try again. Parameters, abilities. Just to be sure. I might have like bound it to a thing that I then deleted and then renamed another thing to the same thing, and then it wasn't the same thing, but it was thinking that it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing, and it's actually a different thing. There's a lot of things happening. But otherwise, maybe that's just not like a parameterized kind of thing. The parameters are like working there at all. That's a bit too bad. Well, just to make sure that that's the issue, go back in here again and print two things real quick. Because presumably that's going to print 0 and an empty name, if my theory is right. If it prints 1 and the correct attack name, I am once again confused. Yeah, it just prints 0. So it doesn't actually like have a proper array that it can use for some reason, because its parameters are just fucked. We can change that, to be fair. But I don't think there's going to be... Look, we can just make it an array on the base enemy class, and I'm sure that that'll work. Like its basic attacks. The thing is, I think aside from maybe like one more enemy that I make in the future, there's going to be very little overlap between different enemies having the exact same state tree that they use. So setting up the class itself to like support something that only like 2 or 3 of the children are going to use is a bit stupid. And making like an entire like new base class to just support 1 or 2 also is a bit stupid when I can just make these into like 2 different trees, and if I change something I'll just have to change it in 2 places. That's fine. So yeah, we're just gonna go back to making this the demon basic attack, and then we can just copy this over and make that the ghost, and give it different values. So if you open up this, it's going to be the same thing, except that it has a choice between 2, and that will be ghost attack left and ghost attack right, and that'll just work. Hopefully. Because if it doesn't, I'm going to start panicking, not going to lie. The thing is, we will need to make this work with the allied versions as well, but for that, what I actually want to do is I do want to change a couple of things around, I think, for how those allied versions actually work, because I do think that it's best to make them inherit of the same base class and give them the... I looked a little bit into how this works by accident, to be fair, while looking at the like state tree stuff, and I can add a interface to them in C++ that can give them a team ID. So I can just give a team ID of enemy to the enemies, the team ID of helpers to my summons, and then I can use that instead of tagging everything as enemy or not enemy, which is what I'm doing right now, which is very dumb. And at that point, they should be able to use the same behavior tree, and we'll do like dynamic targeting instead of just targeting the player character at all times. We'll just target like whatever's closest to it, like whenever it sees something like that. But this wait, what? Oh, that no, that makes sense. That is my bad. Because the ghost still uses the basic enemy one. And there we go. Actually does pretty well. It doesn't like start moving when I go out of its field of view because it has the weights. That's actually... No, that's not because of that. Huh, okay. I'm actually kind of confused as to why it does it. I'm happy, but I didn't think that it would do that. I would imagine that like the moment it can't sense me anymore, yeah, it does that, right? It starts moving. Yeah, that's what I expected it to do. So it might have been doing that, but just not as obvious because its feet aren't on the ground. So it floating around a bit might not be as obvious. So it should only be able to go out of the angry state when it's not in the attacking state, which is a little bit tricky to maybe facilitate, unless... Do we have specifically something? Oh, we have a tag thing. So yeah, hold on. Can see player is false. Oh yeah, and then the tag container is. Ooh, how are we gonna do that? Does container match tag query? That would look a little bit better. Does container match tag query? I don't. Oh, tag query. That's the thing that we're querying. So no, that's not it either. I don't think that's not what we want. Replace with. Oh, at least this one just has a built-in random. That's kind of nice. We can just make our own thing for this if we need. Because the issue that I have is we can make like this tag container and just make a check. Well, no, actually, that's not how we do that. Well, we can check whether or not it has the attack tag. Oh, this might just be one or the other. So we can check on a single tag or on a container. I think that might be. Condition can be used with multiple configurations. Does tag container have tag A? Yeah, so I think this is. So when it does not have. But you see what I mean? Sometimes you compile these things and they just fucking implode. I didn't do anything weird there. I didn't do anything that makes you maybe think, hey, kind of like your own fault, essentially. I just added a if condition and then tried to compile it. Why the fuck does that make me crash? The fact that it doesn't. What the fuck? Did you just crash on startup? So yeah, the fact that it does this, and then to a lesser extent, the fact that it doesn't like, it's a little weird with updating its parameters sometimes. You have to like add in a new parameter for it to see that it has a new parameter, even though you just added another new parameter before and it doesn't like update that every way. Like that's a little bit of weirdness, which I'm like, that doesn't seem like something that should be in a full release or something. The fact that it does this is much worse. Let me be very clear about that. But yeah, I agree. Like this is not a 1.0 release type of thing. In the 2 hours that I've been live so far, it's crashed twice within the last, I think, 40 minutes, 2 times. And while playing around today, and while playing around, I was like copying over live conditions and stuff like that, which I can see that maybe it kind of freaks out about that. It shouldn't, but I can kind of understand it. It crashed a lot more. But yeah, this is not exactly a glowing review because of that. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know what I think I didn't lose anything. Let's just, before we do anything, let's just test if like both types of enemies still like do the attacks properly. Yeah, they don't. But that's just because I think the ghost needs to have the proper. Getting assigned to it. It might also have something to do with the fact that it's like trying to read stuff of assets that have changed or what. I don't know what the actual issue is, and frankly, I don't really care what the issue is. I just care that the issue is there in something that is labeled as not beta. That has a big fat 1.0 release like label on it, which is just not okay. But still, I kind of just like I do like it. So the fuck am I gonna do about it, right? Um, so we have this condition on. Let's test it on these actually. We have this condition. Let's add another condition then for hashtag. Just attack and invert. Compiles. I just need to like save out everything I do. And let's see if this fixes it. Because it shouldn't allow you to exit out while you're in an attack now. But that still does. So that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It seems that's fucked. So what we need to do instead, I think, is I have this not on these, but on some other behavior trees somewhere. Um, big oops. I think I just need to make a custom tag checker, effectively, that checks that checks the tags on. But it should. There's just something that's not working properly here, I think. Because yeah, it does the end. Not empty container text. Yeah, so how do I bind this? That makes no sense. Right? Like, how does that? I guess what it assumes, so maybe what it thinks. You have like a container on here, right? So you have. It assumes you have something like this set up where you can do like other container, actor container. But we have it with the gameplay ability system. So the container is on the ability system component. I'm fairly certain that's how that works. I've had this problem in the past. So what I think we do is as I accidentally kicked some stuff off my desk. Well, not kicked them off my desk, but like. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I can directly bind that through the state tree. It doesn't like look 2 layers deep apparently, so it doesn't look at this object and all the objects that it has, and then plug everything in there. So what I need to do is I need to make a condition of my own. Is I think what I need to do. So I need to, I think, state tree condition. What's the difference? State tree condition consideration or condition. What the fuck is the difference? I think it's conditions that I need. State tree condition, check ability system tag. And here we just have the variable for the actor. I think it's as easy as it is. We just get ability system components. We check is valid. If it's not valid, obviously this is always going to be false. And if it is valid, we check tag, gameplay tag, something. Get own gameplay tags has any matching gameplay tags. Has matching gameplay tag. Another tag to check will be motor variable as well. So I think it's as easy as this. When I say I think, I mean I hope. But here we now have the checkability system tag, where we can just put in the actor, and the tag to check can be attack. So hopefully that'll work. Also, this variable or this parameter can go fuck off. As can this one, actually. I need to get into a habit of when I compile these things, always save all first. Usually I compile and then save. Just kind of the habit that I've built for myself. I need to do it the other way around. Also, that needs to, I think, have an invert on it. Because, yeah. Because right now what we're checking is if it has the tag, we should be checking if it does not have the tag. So I'll just put a invert option in here. And I guess the invert option just like do we do this with like a select? Like I guess this is how we do that, right? So if we invert it, we just do the not of that. Like I guess that's how you build an inverter. I've already thought about that before, but quickest way that I can think of it right now. Hopefully this does it. Yeah, that seems to do it. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So I guess now we copy that over to, and this is why I wanted to make this one tree, because it's going to be kind of annoying otherwise. But I guess we just kind of copy over this condition to here now. Yeah. Wait, I didn't even set the... Well, hold on. This actor should just be actor. I didn't even set the invert on the other one, did I? So why does it work? Because it's checking if this actor has the tag. What the fuck? Oh, I guess I did mess this up. Yeah. Because what it's doing now is checking, hey, are you inverted? If false, inverted. If true, not inverted. So let's let's make that work the way that it is spelled out. Because otherwise it's going to confuse me in the future. So we need to tick it to convert on both accounts. Yeah, the select is just the wrong way around, but that's easy enough. Discovered your channel recently. Thank you for all the awesome lessons you're making. Cheers and good luck with everything. Thanks. I'm worried. Fuck. So what is actually like going wrong here, right? Editor note instance get script struct is gets rid. I don't know. But we're going to keep sending that report, and hopefully Epic will read like one of the fucking million reports I'm going to send in a couple of weeks and fix that. So the issue there was that I didn't compile one of them, and when you run the game, it compiles everything. Just so happens that compiling state trees is like Russian roulette. So I hope that I saved everything. I probably did. Well, this state tree is on my other monitor, but for now I'm just gonna like leave it here. I think I saved everything, so that seems promising. And honestly, the moving while in the middle of an attack thing has been an issue with the behavior tree version that I had as well. So if remaking this in state trees has fixed that, that means that I don't have to fix this anymore in the behavior tree. Well, so that's nice. Yeah, they seem like way better and like more responsive in what they're supposed to like be doing. So that's really good. I like the AI. I feel like the AI works better than it did before. The editor to make them work that way is fucked. But the AI does seem to work better. So I'm probably going to have to deal with the fact that these things just crash. Until Epic manages to fix that. Which fucking who knows when that might be. But yeah, that's the basic idea. So we have two of the enemies now functioning again. Well, let's take a look at the other enemies real quick to see if there's anything that we can like do fairly quickly. Otherwise, this might be a thing that we like continue doing next week. But I think this is probably gonna. We need to do the bosses as well. That's gonna be a fucking mess. But on the ground we have the basic demon and the ghost. And then we also have the basic Reaper, which is fairly similar. It just has a couple of different things. going for it. So it has the same basic like setup that we have like everywhere here. The big difference is the fact that it also has an ability that like works on a cooldown. So I don't know how I'm going to implement that. Does like let's just figure this out. Does have what? Do we have like an enter condition that is like just a cooldown? Or it's just a condition? Yeah, so that might be a little tricky. Maybe you do something with an event there or something. How are we going to set that up? It also does this when it's passive, by the way. I feel like I should point out. So sometimes it just like does a teleport attack when it's not aggro on you. So like at wait location, it should probably just like have a like a certain chance to do that ability after it's done waiting. So instead of finding a new location, it just like disappears. And also immediately, if I do it that way, that doesn't fix the cooldown issue, which I still need to figure out for like another boss fight. But that also fixes the issue where sometimes it just does that immediately when it spawns, that ability. And it does that fairly consistently, which is annoying. So yeah, let's make the basic Reaper one as well. So we have the basic demon, ghost enemy. So let's put one there. Basic Reaper. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to test, I think, as well. Do I have a save file for that? We'll see. So wait at location, we then, instead of going back to passive, we first, I'm assuming that it does these transitions in order. Hopefully. Let's add a sibling states. And this one we can just make red as well. Like, I like the colors. Teleport. Attack. And this will I guess after it's done, it should go into the angry state because you're close to the enemy now. Or it should just finish the tree and go back to root, to be honest. Then again, even if you go back to like passive or angry, like it just goes back and forth, so it doesn't actually matter. Let's just go to angry. Why not? On state completed. Yeah, that's cool. And then it does a ability. Actor to do ability is just actor. Really need to figure out if that's necessary. Reaper teleport attack. Is not the one that I'm looking for. Okay. Maybe Reaper. No, it is the Reaper teleport attack. It is. Never mind. Because I have a specific one for the boss, apparently. And we have a Reaper left and a Reaper right as well, right? So we have right attack and left attack, yes. So after waiting at the location, it should have on state complete just a random condition. How does random work? It's just it has to clear a threshold, right? So if random between 0 and 1 is less than like 0.3. So 1/3 of the time it does it. Let's do that like 1/5 of the time. It'll go to teleport attack. And otherwise it goes back to root, which might as well just go back to passive instead. So yeah, I'm assuming that it does these in order. So I need to do this one first. So it tries to do teleport attack first, and then if that fails, it just goes back to passive. Now when this finishes, it always goes to angry, at which point it gets like in this loop until it goes back to here. Okay. Yeah, that essentially should be the Reaper enemies. So let's take a look at save everything. Oh, hold on. We do need to actually give you the value here. So state tree, basic Reaper. Didn't crash. That's a start. Well, here we are at the other side of the fucking game. I guess we're gonna go for a bit of a walk, okay? Enjoy. Those are just ghosts, I believe, up there, so that's not gonna help. You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna turn on the red dungeon so that doesn't happen again. Do I have any other? I have a central hub save. I don't know what I was on about there. Because we can just immediately go into the dungeon like this. Everything is fine. Okay, this should have some Reapers that spawn in when I... Also, I changed this room, by the way. He was definitely already moving. Okay, but he does do the attack. So when he is like standing still, they seem quite stuck. They also seem like they don't have collision. At least that one doesn't. Okay. So there might be a little bit more to it. What would that be? Like both of those. Why would that? Does this not have? No, it does. I thought the AI wouldn't run until like they get activated because I deactivate the brain controller for them so they can't move. But clearly that dude was moving around before it was actually activated. No, it wasn't. But it's also not doing anything. It's not sensing me, but that might just be an issue with its AI controller. Hold on. Because it might not be using the... No, it is. So then why... I guess because of this begin play event. Needs to call the parent function. Thought Blueprint usually did that for you. Might not. Because if it doesn't have... Well, no, it's still... That's the wrong save file. I don't know, man. I don't think that should make anything change there, because I don't think we're like using the... No, your distance does need to be a certain thing before it can... No, but that's just for attacking, not for chasing. Chasing is done... But you see, now it just works entirely, does it? Yes, it does. Okay, sure. That's cool. So now it's just going to patrol, and it's going to have a 20% chance after every movement that it does to like spawn on top of it, in theory. Oh, there we go. Is that the... Oh, they just both did it at the same time. Okay. That is entirely a coincidence, I have to assume. You just need to like keep an eye out on the guy in the back there. See if he does it again. He's just standing around. He's just standing around. Does this have a different tag on it? Attack.basic. But that should... That should still work. Let's just try to see if changing it to attack. No, that definitely should still work, because the other dude also did it. And then continue to like, have normal AI just working. So I don't know what's going wrong there. But let's see if it does it again. And if it doesn't do it again, we can just pretend like that was a bad dream, essentially. Okay. The other dude's doing the Reaper teleport attack, so he should be on top of me now. It's the normal attack that fucks him up. He does pretty much immediately after, which is also brutal, I might add. So I think after the teleport attack, we want to make him go into... Okay, so he does the teleport attack. So I think it's just either the left attack or the right attack maybe has like a weird... No, it's the teleport attack, because now they did it both and now they're both stuck. I guess we can just look at the thing and see what's actually going on. This is the ghost enemy, basic Reaper. It's a no state. Well, that's entirely new. I guess I make it go to angry and then it, because it doesn't have, oh, that might be why. No, but that doesn't make sense. I was going to say it might be going to angry and then not be able to like go to any of the child states, but this thing also sends it to angry and that works just fine. But either way, I think that I want to send this thing to wait because it needs to wait and not immediately like do another attack. Because again, that is I think what it did a moment ago, and that is pretty like brutal. Nothing's going on in the right. It's kind of the same as me, honestly. To be fair. And I made them, so that makes sense. Can't make something smart if you're dumb. Can very much make dumb things when you're smart, though. Let's trigger you, get the fuck out. And then trigger the other one. Get the fuck out. I guess it's actually a pretty good spot to test this. I'm happy that I remade this this area. I think I know what might be going wrong. So the teleport attack teleports the enemy next to the player while they're in this passive state. They're doing an attack, but they're technically within the passive like parent state. At which point they're close to the enemy, so they're going to be moved to the angry state. But the enemy, but this hasn't finished yet. So this also should, much like the angry state, have this this second condition. So let's like try to copy that maybe. Can't seem to copy that. That's kind of fucked. Where it doesn't allow it to exit the passive state as long as something is attacking. I wish I could set that up as like a general rule for every single transition. Like just as long as something is attacking, do not transition. Like make it finish its attack before it does anything else. That would be kind of neat if we could do that. But I don't think there's something like a global condition set up. Probably a way to like extend the whole system in C++ to do that, but that's like a little too much fucking around and work for me to do something that I can just do within like the blueprint solution. So now one of your fuckers teleports. Also, I shouldn't be able to see your HP bar. Why can I still see your HP bar? Because your tick event is probably not running experiments. Well, that's a future Mika issue. Okay, teleport attack. He finishes. It's good. Then he actually does the full animation, and his AI still works. Fantastic. Okay, so that was the issue. I'm not entirely sure how that issue works, but that's the issue fixed. Basic Reaper, yeah. So your tick event, your tick event is also empty. So let's just get rid of it altogether. I probably had something in there, but the parent class has a tick event that turns off the. That's not the level that I wanted to check. That turns off the HP bar if there's no direct line of sight between the enemy and the player. So you don't get exactly what we had just there, which is the HP bar being visible through a wall. And also, I think, makes it so that you can't lock but that is something that I actually do need to check. No, it still can do your lockup. Okay, so I need to add in a value for that. I thought I'd fix that, but apparently I didn't. Yeah, so that's the basic Reaper also working. It's a fairly simple AI. It's pretty much the same AI as the other two. But you can see why I'm like, I kind of want to like genericize this portion of it, and maybe this portion of it, because a lot of the enemies are going to need to have at least this and this happening. But if I can't make the ability class references into parameters, because it's a very like niche overlap, I can see that that maybe doesn't quite work. If I can't parameterize those, I don't think I can like nest this essentially. So I just do need to copy and paste all of this over everywhere, which is annoying. It might work as a parameter within like another, because you can as a task just very much, you can run a parallel tree but not a subtree. Never mind. I thought one of the tasks was that you can run a subtree, but you can only run one in parallel. Which might still allow you to wait for it to finish and then move on, but that's it's a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, anyway, that's state trees. I do like them. I don't like the fact that they crash my engine, but that might also just be a quite specific like issue that I'm having for some reason. I don't know if other people are running into the same issues there. Hopefully they are, because then Epic will fix it. But we're going to leave it there for now, which means that next time, I don't know, we'll probably go back to some level design stuff on Thursday, which is tomorrow actually. We'll probably do some level design stuff tomorrow, because I was in the middle of doing that. But then again, we might just finish off some more of this stage results. Kind of depends on what I feel like doing. But so far, I think that this is a pretty good start. So thanks everybody for hanging out and keeping me sane and double checking all my stuff while I'm working. And I'll be back tomorrow, same day. Well, not same day, different day, same time. And yeah, we'll see.